I think I played in 2002. I played a place called the Garage. They're cool. They were very good to me. North Carolina was the first state that I played in outside of Texas. That's not entirely. I just made that up. Actually, that's it was like one of the first. The first one was Tennessee. I played in Memphis, Tennessee, and I got robbed the very first night I played. So I got out of Tennessee and I came to North Carolina, and people treated me really well here in Asheville, that whole area. People would give me couches to sleep on and food to eat and drugs to take and drinks to drink. It was very, very friendly. And most of those people are in jail now. But anyway, I recognize it. But anyway, around those times back home, I wasn't having much luck either. I was playing down in a place called Crystal Beach, Texas, on the Bolivar Peninsula. It's just this little spit of land out in the Gulf of Mexico. And I started out playing a joint called Bob's Sports Bar and World Famous Grill. The name was misleading. It wasn't really a sports bar at all. Good music for my story here. Anyway, Crystal Beach is the type of place where nobody used their real names, everybody had aliases, and I was the only guy who could play guitar and sing at the same time, which made me sort of a minor celebrity down there. And I started getting all kinds of gigs. I got a gig at Bob's, I got a gig at Sharky's, I got a gig at the Ship's Wheel, and the Stingery, and Genie's 1, and that eventually led to a gig at Genie's 2, which was like a bait camp and a trailer about 50 feet behind Genie's 1. And I was really doing okay there for a while. There was this guy who used to come out to my shows. His name was Mike, and Mike was sort of the local drug dealer there in town. And he didn't spend his money that he made selling drugs on like cars or clothes. He didn't wear a shirt, and he drove a golf cart most of the time. He spent all his proceeds on wild, exotic, illegal animals that he somehow smuggled down to the beach on the Bolivar Peninsula. And the crown jewel of his collection, he had like all kinds of snakes and birds and giraffe, I think. I don't get a giraffe, but he had a lot of stuff. But the crown jewel was this full-grown African lion that he had, and he used to put it in one of those circus cages with the bars on the back, hook it to his golf cart, and drive it over to my show at Bob's. And Bob's, there's like the size of this stage maybe, except there's like none of y'all would have been there. Maybe you guys, but anyway, there's like a floor-to-ceiling window behind me, and he would back it up, and so this line, like if y'all turned around and look at me playing in the corner, you'd see this line out in the parking lot. And about 4 years ago, Hurricane Ike came and hit the Gulf of Mexico, hit the Gulf Coast, and it was a direct hit on the Bolivar Peninsula, and it just destroyed it. It wiped out 90% of the buildings. I lost my home. Bob's washed away. A lot of family and friends lost their businesses and their houses. And I was overseas at the time. I was in the UK, and I couldn't get any information on what had happened in such a small, remote place. And finally, I remember one night I was walking on stage in London, England, and somebody handed me a newspaper. And on the front page of the newspaper, it was like the London Times. On the front page of the paper was the lion that used to come out to my gigs at Bob's. And I found out later what had happened was that when Mike heard the storm was coming straight at him, he did the Christian thing and set all of his animals free, right? And I have no idea what became of the rest of his zoo, but the lion, I guess instinctually went to high ground, which was a church about 3 feet above sea level in the middle of town there. And there were a few locals who thought they would try and ride out the storm, and they eventually decided that wasn't going to work, and they needed to get to high ground. And so they too ended up at this church 3 feet above sea level. And they walked in, and there was a lion there. But I guess they recognized him from my shows and thought it was cool. So they went to the other side of the church and just hung out until the storm passed. And then it was 3 days before the National Guard could come and rescue everybody and get there. So for like 72 hours, there was like a redneck life of Pi situation going on. I know this is a long story, but the point is, there's a lyric in this next song about a lion tamer, and I know y'all are paying attention, and I didn't want anybody to be confused about what I was talking about. A machine and a sailor's daughter. Something makes them crazy going up on the water. I'm playing for my supper 6 nights a week. Hurricanes, Easter, and New Year's Eve. 14 miles and there ain't much left. Looking like a homeless, cheers on the left. Homeless in the corner, breaking up a fight. Good Lord, I hope I get paid tonight. Baby, burnt fried chicken and a Lone Star beer. Cops and the kids, they drink free around here. Girl behind the bar, taking what she's giving, lying about her past and trying to make a living. A broken table, some hard luck cues. Go tell your mama I done paid my dues. Everyone around here knows my name. 6 nights a week in a neon flame. I got a key, baby. I got a key. Now there's an old line train I park behind the bar with 100 pounds of weed in a stolen car. Oil patch boys, girls who went to college, rules you don't break and laws that ain't acknowledged. A barefoot stripper with a pistol up his sleeve. Some will go to heaven, some will never leave. Pills in the tip jar, blood on the strings. Oh Lord, I never thought I'd see these things. I got a key, baby. I got a key. A machine and a sailor's daughter. Something makes them crazy going up on the water. I'm playing for my supper 6 nights a week. Hurricanes, Easter, and New Year's Eve. I gotta give, baby.